Good morning, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Morning Heart Devotion. To start off, let's offer a greeting, a bow to our heavenly parents and true parents. 천진 참부모님께 경배. 바로. And now to lead us through the family pledge, I'd like to invite up Reverend Milhan Stevens.
가정맹세 1. 처녀급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 본향 땅을 찾아 본연의 창조 이상인 지상 천국과 천상 천국을 창건할 것을 맹세하나이다. 2. 처녀급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님을 모시어 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 중심, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 성자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 3. 처녀급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 4대 심정권과 3대 왕권과皇族권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 4. 처녀급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님의 창조 이상인 천주대 가족을 형성하여 자유와 평화와 통일과 행복의 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 5. 처녀급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 매일 주체적 천상세계와 대상적 지상세계의 통일을 향해 전진적 발전을 촉진화할 것을 맹세하나이다. 6. 처녀급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님의 대신 가정으로서 천운을 움직이는 가정이 되어 하늘의 축복을 주변에 연결시키는 가정을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 7. 처녀급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 본연의 혈통과 연결된 위하는 생활을 통하여 심정문화 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 8. 처녀급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 처녀급 시대를 맞이하여 절대 신앙, 절대 사랑, 절대 복종으로 신인의 일체 이상을 이루어 지상 천국과 천상 천국의 해방권과 석방권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Thank you, Reverend Milhan Stevens. And now to open us up in prayer, I'd like to invite Yuriko Arakawa. Yuriko Arakawa. Please unmute Yuriko-san. Here you go.
Good morning. Please join me in prayer. 존귀하신 하늘 부모님, 승리하신 전진 장군님, 감사합니다. 사랑합니다. The most beloved heavenly parents, true parents, thank you so much for this opportunity to gather here again with all brothers and sisters here, and letting us live a life of gratitude in your grace, in your love, and in your words. I'd like to offer my sincere gratitude to Heavenly Parents and True Parents for guiding us through morning devotion by Dr. Yong, so we can have a right vision of our life today and start the beautiful new day. So please open our heart to prepare receiving Heavenly Parents' words through Dr. Yong. We join the morning devotion and we learn about the importance of Johnson and attendance to Heavenly Parents and True Parents with Heart of Hyojong, which was lost throughout history. Now we are living in such a special and precious time with True Mother. Especially, True Mother gave us the blessing of Yong. heavenly treasure. Such a beautiful gift we received. But to give us this blessing, we cannot imagine how much true parents sacrificed, how much true parents offered chanson, how much true parents shed tears for us and prayed for us. I'm so grateful, true parents, for such a blessing and to fulfill our responsibility. We are challenging to the witness. Through witness, we feel the deep, sorrowful heart of heavenly parents who have been searching for his lost children for thousands of years. So we offer our chanson to find righteous person whom you prepared. So we give True Mother hope. And I pray for Mother's Nation, Japan, facing difficulties. Those pain are not only their pain, but also your mother's pain. So I sincerely pray to take away those pain. Thank you so much again. Please protect your mother's health and safety. 신주님, 지우님, and our entire True family, Dr. Yong, President Kim, and all leaders and their families, and all brothers and sisters here. Thank you so much again. I pray in the name of Yoshikaze and Yuriko Arakawa, for Central family. 오늘 저녁은
네, 감사합니다. 유리코 사마. Wow, beside Yosei, how are you, Yosei? Okay, thank you. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Yuriko-san, for opening us up with such a beautiful prayer for all of mankind, for our true parents and heavenly parents. All right, brothers and sisters, we're going to go into our breakouts now. So please take a moment to think about what you're grateful for this morning. What you're grateful for, share with whoever you're paired up with, and we'll be back here to share with everyone else. We'll see you all soon. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful sharing in your breakout. I had a great time with people that I've been paired with so many times, but all the more, it's just always fun and great to see them. I'd like to first invite Anton Smirnov, to share with us his gratitude points this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for morning devotion, Dr. Yong and all MCs. First of all, really, I was reading today Champomagon and last night Trupasa, like kind of comparing the Unification Church to assembly factory. All the religions producing the parts, and then people coming to our church from different backgrounds, But anyway, and also he emphasized about the importance of the mind-body unity. Everything comes down to that point. Yesterday, Dr. Yong was sharing about the 1 Peter 4:8 about loving people instead of trying to fix them, Anyway, first person I met, I was doing fundraising in my area. Grandpa was really, really mean to me, was planning to call police and stuff. But anyway, I just tried to pray for him and for the city. Anyway, no police didn't appear. But anyway, I could finish my area. But yeah, at the same time, it's our first reaction is to really, to fight back, right? And then assert our righteousness. But to really love people, it's always not easy. And whenever you go out, you always confront. If you sit at home, you cannot see it, But and easy if you know people well, it's more challenging all this time to notice their full nature, but always need to step back and then more love. That's kind of my gratitude for the morning devotion, so I can practice it as well. And then I have opportunities to practice it. Yes. Anyway,
Thank you.
Anyway, that's my gratitude. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Anton. I understand that you are doing fundraising every day. Oh my goodness, that is not simple one. I hope you quickly settle down your family. I want to see your children. Thank you so much, Anton. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Yong.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Anton, just for everything that you do, and also for sharing with us your gratitude. Next, I'll let you call on, once again, James and Loretta. James and Loretta to share with us their gratitude points this morning.
Well, 안녕하세요. My gratitude this morning, I'm really happy jumping up and down to get a clear understanding from the the spirit world about the identity of true parents to Christianity. Jesus had it set up so that through his testimony, the same kind of testimony that he did with the great prophet Elijah, but he gave this one to his disciples so that they would be able to see him when he came back, because the world would see him no more, but we can see him. And it points straight to Father. Father is my great fan who brought me to the movement. But anyway, so I'm happy just to know how to minister that, the testimony of Jesus, and I thank God for it. And I'm so happy I don't know what to do, that finally, after all these years, he's finally brought me there. So I'm gonna give it to my wife now.
I'm grateful to be alive. This is always my first gratitude. I'm grateful to know that there is a living God and how God shows up in my life.
Wow.
I'm thankful for the morning heart devotion and the opportunity to learn how to be closer to God. It's not by external religious habits. It is by having an internal connection to God and being sensitive to his heart. So I'm thankful for the morning heart devotion. I'm thankful for my community that does devotion and for my personal Hundo K reading and the reading of Divine Principle.
Wow.
God made everything through his word. And if we keep his word, even in songs I sing, a lot of my keywords are in songs and they keep my spirit up. So I'm so grateful and thankful
Thank
for
you.
this understanding.
Thank you, James and Loretta. always your couple sharing so beautiful, beautiful word and beautiful reflection. Always I really thank you, your couple. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
You, James and Loretta. I'm always just so moved by your sincerity and your gratitude points whenever you share. All right, brothers and sisters, we're going to go into our main message today, our internal guidance. So let's prepare our hearts and mind to receive it from our beloved Continental Director, Dr. Chonshik Yong.
안녕하세요. Good morning, my dear brothers and sisters, clergy and ambassador for peace. 안녕하십니까? Today, I'd like to talk about the role of women has become more important from True Mother's Anthology, Volume 2. Let's study.
The role of women has become more important. Ladies and gentlemen, that path, however, is not an easy one. It requires us to shed copious amounts of blood, tears, and sweat, and to make unbearable sacrifices at times. This is because God has been suffering from the moment our first ancestors, whom he created as his children, fell and inherited Satan's lineage and disappeared into darkness. Have you ever thought about the long, dark tunnel of indemnity our Heavenly Father has had to pass through as he waited and endured tens of thousands of years of excruciating heartache, so great that his very bones shed tears and his very flesh trembled? My fellow leaders, as he endured such pain, God raised and prepared the central people of the providence in silence over a period of thousands of years. You well know the history of how God sent his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ, to earth 2,000 years ago to save humankind. The result, however, was a truly wretched one. The leaders of Judaism and the people of Israel, who were supposed to receive Jesus as the Messiah and follow him with absolute faith, absolute love, and absolute obedience, instead forced him to walk the path of the cross, didn't they? In the end, Jesus left behind the words, "It is finished," referring only to spiritual salvation, and left this world. Sadly, it was only after 2,000 years of preparation that his second coming could finally take place on the Korean peninsula, miles and miles away. From long ago, the Korean people have worshiped God as the highest and primal ancestors of their forefathers. They call God that single being, the creator and ancestor of all people, Hananim, combining Hana, one, and Nim, most honored, the reverend one, and attended him as the Lord. And this is why all numbers begin from one.
Yes. Then we will now take this time to find out the reason God chose Korea as a chosen nation based on True Father's word. Let's study.
Korean spirit of faith in God. From the historical point of view, what nation has a people with a burning faith? Although the Korean people were not familiar with the Christian term God, and although they did not receive prophecies from the biblical prophets, strangely enough, throughout their 5,000 years of history, the Korean people always deeply revered heaven, even without knowing why. That such a small country in the Eastern Hemisphere survived era after era to this day, maintaining itself through 5,000 years of history, is nothing short of a miracle. If you look at the history of Korea, it underwent numerous trials, including being invaded many times by neighboring countries. Korea was eaten and spit out by them again and again. And when spit out, there was no more flesh attached. With that spirit, they always look forward to a hopeful tomorrow because they possess this spirit, because this national spirit could take hold and become the prevailing spirit on the Korean peninsula of the Far East. They were able to come out on top through all their battles. Isn't it fitting that the Messiah come to a people who have endured, always advancing with this kind of spirit? On the emotional level, no people in this region are more passionate than the Korean people. Korea has always been called the Eastern land of propriety. Buddhism, Confucianism, and Christianity each claim to be the religion of faith and righteousness. But now they have reached their limit. However, just as the Korean people have upheld their spirit of hope for their nation, they are the kind of people who can be fired up with the truth for the sake of the world.
Yes, throughout its 5,000-year history, Korea has never invaded another country, even though it has been invaded more than 930 times. It would have been impossible for Korea to maintain such a long history without protection of heaven. In Korea's 5,000 years history, they came out looking forward for a hopeful day with something flowing as a national spirit. What was that wish? They hoped that the true owner who would save Korea would appear. Korea had such a messianic idea. Next.
The passion of the Korean people, when this happens, their inherent passion for truth will burst out from deep within their hearts. Then, why did this nation become like this? Ladies and gentlemen, let's try to think about it. No values can be determined unless there is a standard for comparison. Those who know will know. Without establishing the position of the subject partner and object partner, one cannot create a sense of value. If a nation emerged with a global leadership ideology, only when there are object nations to follow that nation, and when they practice that ideology well, can that nation exercise that global leadership?
Yeah, on the emotional level, no people in this region are more passionate than the Korean people. People of surrounding nations have pointed to Korea since long ago and called it the Eastern land propriety. Yes, Buddhism and Confucianism and Christianity, and each claim to be the religion of faith and the righteousness until now, but now they have reached their limit. However, the Korean people who have upheld their spirit of hope for their nation are the kind of the people who can be fired up with the truth for the sake of the world. And when this happens, their inherent passion for truth will burst out from deep within their hearts. If a new savior were to emerge in Korea with a global leadership ideology, with new values, the day will come when Korea can exercise that global leadership. But talking about the passion of the Korean people, let's study living divine principle, motivation and process of the fall. Let's study EDP.
The motivation and process of the fall. The motivation of the human fall lay within the angel. Therefore, before we can know the motivation and the process of the fall, we must first learn about the angel. Angels were created by God prior to any other creation. God created angels to be his retainers, servants, and ministering spirits who would assist him in creating and sustaining the universe. Because God created us human beings as his children and gave us dominion over all creation, we are meant to rule over the angels as well.
Okay, and then Father's word.
the kind of love that is inferior to the archangel's love. Committing sins and making a big fuss over nothing is the kind of love that is inferior to the archangel's love after the human fall. That's why people are much further away from the love of God, which exists as the subject of the ideology and the ideology itself.
Yeah. The kind of love we are giving and receiving today are all inferior to the archangel's love, right? For example, envy, jealousy, arrogance, and self-centered love, that is inferior to the archangel's love, can never experience God's work and Holy Spirit. The reason we cannot change and grow today is because our level of love is still stuck below the top of the growth stage. When we love with the level of our love being beyond the top of the growth stage, God will always prove that that person and family, and there will be amazing works by the spiritual world. How about your level of love? That's why I'm always thinking that, how can I upgrade my level of love? How can I surpass the top of the growth stage? No more jealousy, no more envy, no more arrogance, no more self-centered love. And then really, really from my heart, can love God, can love people, can relate to anyone, can embrace anyone. How can I reach that kind of level and beyond the top of the growth stage? This is our homework, right? Right, my brothers and sisters? I really respect Jesus. You know, what is his level of love? His level of love, really true love. When he crucified, how come at such kind of a miserable situation, bleeding from head and the 2 hands and 2 legs and from his breast, how come he can still forgive his enemies? How can we deny that he's really God's really only begotten Son? His level of true love is really too different. You know, fallen man's love, even though I love you, you love me, you know, even though we fall in love, our spouse and our children, you know, this kind of, still that kind of the love we are giving and receiving today are all inferior to the archangel's love. This is the issue. Therefore, we need to elevate the level of our love and go beyond the top of the growth stage and enter the completion stage. But we should know that love of the completion stage must absolutely begin with. It's very important. The love of the completion stage must absolutely begin with the couple and bear fruit in the family. The level of completion begins from couple, not individual at all. This is really, no religion clearly explain about that. But our divine principle and true Father's word explain very clearly. Without having your object partner, you cannot start about the beginning of the completion stage. That's why we need to know that completion stage begins from couple. Your own individual level maximum, you can go until top of the growth stage. But completion stage begins from the couple, centering on the family. What I know, wow, really, family level is already different standard. You know, whenever I see all kinds of people, I'm thinking that, wow, why I cannot embrace that guy? Why I'm still struggling with that guy? I always reflect on myself. What kind of the level of love do I have? If I really reach already certain standard, be on top of the growth stage, I can embrace anyone. I can love anyone. I can digest anyone. Even though persecution comes and still embrace him. Wow, how can I upgrade my level of love? That is my homework. That is your homework, right? My brothers and sisters. Thank God, our true parents show that kind of model. Next.
The process of the history of God through 3 ages. How can we seek for our Father? What kind of process was done to build a bridge seeking for our Father? The Old Testament age was the age when a retainer and a son came to train an adopted son during the New Testament age. It goes the opposite way. Abraham was the retainer during the Old Testament age. In other words, at that time, God sent the angels from heaven and had them participate in the providence. A son was sent during the New Testament age. The completed Testament age is the era when the Father himself comes to lead the providence and love his sons and daughters.
The process of the history of God through 4 ages. First, the Old Testament age was the age of retainer by angels. A son came to train an adopted son during the New Testament age. The completed Testament age is the era when true parents themselves comes to the lead of the providence and love his sons and daughters. The age of the 천일구 is the era that heavenly tribal Messiah, all the blessed couple, offer their filial piety and loyalty. Next content is today's youth ministry should always think about how to please others. Let's start.
Think first before judging right away. If your spouse shows a strange behavior that doesn't suit you, you should question, I don't know this kind of behavior and character, but will my spouse feel comfortable doing that? Instead of criticizing them immediately, we must take some time to think about it, even if it hurts our heart, questioning whether the spouse will feel proud of themselves even if they did that. However, if you immediately feel bad towards your spouse without thinking, fights break out. Therefore, you should not arbitrarily judge others on the spot as good or bad according to your feelings. There may be truth in something that is bad, but there may also be evil lurking in something that is good. These days, people often go to karaoke. Everyone flocks to it. But if it goes wrong, it's a very scary place. If the people who meet horizontally there say, this is good, they will ruin their life. So you can't be too fond of it.
Yeah. Even if your feelings get hurt because of your spouse, or even if you don't like them, do not judge them on the spot, but always think centered on the number 3. That is a father's suggestion, right? For example, 3 minutes, 30 minutes, 3 hours, 3 days, and so on. If you are faced with a circumstance in which you cannot control your own emotions due to the word about your partner, you must first gain composure in your heart and then think. Fallen people easily upset and angry and feedback. That's why Father talking about, you need to settle down. You need to just think about at least 3 minutes. And then you spend more time, 30 minutes and 3 hours, 3 days. When you calm down your heart, your emotion, and then you know, what should I say? What I shouldn't say? Very important. Fallen man, no patience, no endurance. Immediately judge. Immediately get angry. This is really a problem. This is fallen nature. No patience. No patience. That's why. How can we be patient and think about it? Think others' point of view. That's why always need to settle down, centering on number 3. At least like a 3 minutes. Wait for a while. What does he say? What my wife saying? And you cannot digest it within 3 minutes, and then need to wait for 30 minutes. And they think about it. Even you cannot understand, cannot digest it, you need to think about and pray about for 3 hours. You still cannot adjust, you need to wait another 30 days. Then God tell you already you are thinking about and wait for a while. That kind of attitude we really definitely we need. We need, especially relationship between husband and wife, and also relationship between parents and child. Fallen men, no wait. Immediately judge. That's always make the problem. When you have a conflict with each other, you need to have time to think a little. However, if you immediately feel bad towards your spouse without thinking, fights break out. You should not mindlessly judge others on the spot as good or bad, according to your feelings. There may be truth in something that is bad, but there may also be evil lurking in something that is good. We need to know about that. Next.
Always think about how to make others happy. If we want to become mature people, we must always think about how we can make the other person happy. You must always have thoughts and attachments to wanting to please the other person. Just as Heavenly Parents' purpose of creation was to bring joy to the object partner, we must always think about how to please Heavenly Parent and those around us. If your children keep doing a lot of concerning things, you must ask, when I was young, I couldn't do things like you did. Would you be proud if you did that? Would your mom and dad praise you for that? As soon as the children talk, don't say too loud or be quiet. Instead, say, will you be praised for doing that? You guys do as you want, but who are you trying to please? You should always make them reflect on their relationship like this. So we must help our children to understand and think about the motives that led them to do so. And we must understand and try to figure out the intention of our partner and children.
Yeah, very detailed guidance, right? Mature people always think about how to make the other person happy. You must always have a thought and attachment of making the other person happy. For example, the husband is coming back from working place. Oh, as a wife, this is my duty to cook, for my husband. Do not think that way as a duty or responsible or one of my mission or one of my role. Which food is he can eat very well? How can I make him very happy? How can I make her very happy? I really need to think happiness, my brothers and sisters. Do you know why? Just as God's original purpose of creation was to make the other happy. Purpose of God's creation is what? Creating happy and joy, right? That always you need to know how to create happiness for God and for true parents in the family. How can create that kind of happiness and joy for my spouse, my children, my own brothers and sisters? Always think about that. We should also always think about how to bring joy to God and those around us. When you think about how to make the other person happy, you will gain wisdom. One who lives for the sake of others will have endless wisdom. Do you understand what I mean? This is really important. You need to change mindset. Okay? When you relate with someone, oh, what is his character? What does he, which area does he like? Which food he doesn't like? He loves. What kind of food does he love? Not just only researching about his character. How can I make him happy? How can I make my parents happy? How can I create that kind of the really joy? Yeah, everything centering on joy and happiness. I am telling you, one who have a heart to live for the sake of others, God always provide wisdom. It is amazing. That's why one who knows living for the sake of others, he already have some taste. How can make someone happy? Because more wisdom can come. On the contrary, if you think centering on yourself, even if everything in front of you becomes dark and you worry and there will be no countermeasures, my brothers and sisters, if you are self-centered, no idea. I do not know how to relate to my brothers and sisters, my family and my spouse. Because you are self-centered, no wisdom. I do not know how to make happy for him or for her. Because you are self-centered. These are the problems. However, I just need to think that. What's the God's purpose of creation? God's purpose of creation is creating joy and happiness. Then God's purpose of creation should be my purpose of life. Always, whatever I do, my job is creating happiness and joy for the sake of others. That is my job. When I make happy for others and my original mind is dancing, so happy, so stimulated, so much energy, right? Then many kinds of wisdom come. Just to do anything by duty and by responsibility, no choice I need to do, you cannot get any wisdom. But when you focus, how can I make someone happy? Then you think, I need to give some money. I need to give some gift. I need to suggest that way. Wow. We need to change our concept. Right? Change our concept. That's why I love the purpose of creation, God's purpose of creation. Why He created human being. Why He created the universe. To feel joy and happiness. To feel joy and happiness no other way. I need to live for the sake of others. I need to give and give and give. I need to sacrifice and sacrifice for my object partner. How beautiful. Wow. I really love our divine principle. I really love True Parents' guidance. He teaches us that. How to make happiness and joy. No? From the heart, voluntarily, joyfully, happily. But fallen men just take action according to their mood, just habitually, and then just by duty, something like that. That's why the life is very much boring. We need to know that. Wow, what's the purpose of my life? Creating joy and happiness for others. Who is number one others? God, Heavenly Parents, and True Parents. And then your neighbor, your wife, your husband, your family, your Cain, and your Abel. Need to know that what the purpose of your life, creating joy and happiness. That's it. That's it. Final one.
Don't judge a book by its cover. In order to understand the other person well, you must look at the motives behind their actions instead of judging the results as they appear. This way of thinking is very helpful in the process of becoming a child of heaven. In conclusion, we are not to laugh or rejoice recklessly, and it means not to make judgments centered on one's own thoughts. It means to deal with yourself well while thinking whether your thoughts and actions will become Heavenly Parent's harm or comfort him.
Yeah. To understand the other person well, you must look at the motives behind their action instead of judging the results as they appear. This way of thinking is very helpful in the process of becoming a child of heaven. In conclusion, we are not to laugh or rejoice recklessly. When we look at our lives, when we have conflict with the other person and fight, there are many cases of the misunderstanding. If you think centered on yourself, you will surely misunderstand. Fallen beings have so much misunderstandings, as if we were born for misunderstanding. Very interesting, right? We were born for misunderstanding. Wow. Adam misunderstand God, and Eve misunderstand God, and Adam misunderstand Eve, Eve misunderstand Adam, and Adam and Eve misunderstand Archangel. Misunderstanding. That's why many people are saying that. We were born for misunderstanding. That's why when we see centering on God's point of view, centering on principle point of view, centering on our original point of view, and then we can make more or less misunderstanding, right? The misunderstanding. If you are self-centered, then always create misunderstanding. This is the issue. Therefore, do not carelessly judge others about this and that, centering on their own thought. It means to deal with yourself well while thinking whether your thoughts or action will become Heavenly Parent's harm or comfort him. Conclusion is what? You always need to deny, need to think others' point of view, need to think God's point of view. That is our life of faith, my brothers and sisters. Should always think about how to please others. So today, this is my main topic, how to please others. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Dr. Yong. This is literally the answer to my question this morning. I really feel God working through you, and I'm sure many others here as well. Thank you so much. Just today's topic is just mind-blowing for me. We're going to go on to our living testimony. Today, we're going to, I believe, Maryland. She's from Maryland. A friend of mine, Melissa Manor, sharing on her blessing testimony. So let's welcome up Melissa.
Hi, everyone. So yes, my name is Melissa Manor Santana. I just got married legally, actually.
Melissa!
Hi, Dr. Yong.
Hello.
It's so nice to see everyone. So yeah, I'm actually in Brazil right now because my husband, Henrique Santana, he is from Brazil. So yes, I'm living here for the moment, but we're waiting for the spousal visa. Anyway, I don't have so much time. I have a lot to share because my blessing testimony is actually like 11 years, basically. So it's a lot to put in 5 minutes, but I'm going to do my best. So yes, I'll just go ahead and get started. I actually started kind of preparing for the blessing when I was 16. I went to Brazil, and my uncle was telling me and my cousin is Miso. She's actually blessed to Makotomo Sonohara, if you guys know him. Anyway, she was basically, he was telling us, you guys should start doing conditions to prepare for the blessing. And I was like, I'm 16. I never even thought about it, right? But after he said that, I really took it to heart. And I basically, until I was blessed, I kept doing conditions. So for almost like 12 years or more than that, because I was blessed when I was 28. So I feel like that's a big priority that I think in preparation is really important, is to have these some sort of conditions that you're preparing, because not only do the conditions help because it's a condition, but it also helps you, especially decay conditions and prayer conditions, things like that. Basically I started, but nothing really worked out. I never actually started talking to anyone. I was really serious. Like, I only want to talk to someone who I really feel is going to be like my spouse. And so I think there was a lot I learned through the process. But finally in 2020, I kind of decided, okay, I need to get blessed. I want to get blessed. So like, this is my priority. And I think that when you are trying to get blessed, that's super important, is to make it a priority. It can't just be something on the side, like, oh, I'm going to go to school and if I get blessed, but rather, you know, the blessing is almost everything that our church believes in. So like, you have to make it a priority. And when I started doing that, a lot of things started happening. And then, yeah, so basically one thing that happened in 2020 was I actually started my first conversation with a brother who is not my spouse. So it's another brother, actually also from Brazil. And it was an interesting process. It was my first process. I didn't know anything. And I feel like sometimes it's good to go through. I think God can work through a lot of things. And so unfortunately with that process, we actually got matched. We did the engagement ceremony, the commitment ceremony. And then I was planning to visit him again. And then a week before all this crazy stuff happened, I think someone in his family got COVID or something. And so his mom was like, oh, you shouldn't come anymore. And then he said like, oh, I need 3 days to think about the blessing. And then he actually ended the matching. He broke the matching. And so for me, and that happened in the middle of a winter workshop. I was planning a winter workshop online. And so as I'm planning the workshop, like I was so, emotional, but because it's, a public event, I really felt like I can't let Satan claim this workshop. And so I do the workshop and then we'd say, okay, we're going to go have a break, go grab a snack or some coffee or something. And I turn off my camera, I cry, I wash my face, come back and be like, okay, everyone, hope you guys had a great break. So it was definitely, a really rough week kind of. And kind of when it ended, the brother told me it ended in a way where he made it seem like it was my fault, like my faith wasn't good enough. But for me, that's why I felt so sad, was it was as if someone was literally telling me I wasn't good enough. And so it was really painful for me. And after the workshop ended, I had like 2 days where I just cried like all day. And then I couldn't sleep. And so I woke up in the middle of the night. I think it was around like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I just started praying and praying and praying and trying to understand what was going on. And through that prayer, I really received this revelation that I realized it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. And from that realization, it actually led me to like let go of all the pain. Like I literally felt like lighter. And so I like let it go. And I actually never cried again from that day, because I really realized it wasn't something that had to do with me, if that makes sense. Anyway, oh man, I don't even know how much time I have. But that's, all of the I guess what happened before. And then surprisingly, after I kind of like Uncle Alan here just said, like, go and let God, after that happens, right away, actually his parents contacted my family while I was talking to that other brother. But obviously I was talking to him, so we said no. And then for some reason, I don't know why, but he came to mind. Like, I remembered him. And then I told myself, okay, I'm going to wait 40 days to kind of, offer everything up. And then I'm going to start, the process. But I felt something telling me like, I have to know if he's matched. I have to know. Or if he's like available or, like open to if he's still open to the matching, all that. And then something just told me I have to know. And so I talked to my mom, and my mom was like, let me just, ask and, let's see what happens. Right. And then like incredibly enough, within 10 days, we started talking. So like right after the process, I don't think it's good to start another process right after. But because I was already planning to go to Brazil, I already had my tickets and everything bought. And so I actually went to visit my family. I'm half Brazilian. And then because I was in Brazil, we just decided to meet one day at the airport for like a couple hours, just because like I didn't know when I was going to come back to Brazil. And so I was just like, I have no idea what's going on. I remember like praying, and I was like, God, what is happening? What is my life? I was literally what was it, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks, I was engaged to someone else, and now I don't even know what's going on. This is crazy. But something I can honestly say is that through our whole process, and even now we really feel God's guidance. We both feel like, and he has his own testimony, right? But like we both felt in our own ways that this was something God wanted, like this is what God wants. And my other process, that was something that I didn't really feel so much. It was more, I'm just doing it because I have I have to get blessed. Everyone has to get blessed. But this one, I really felt like this is something, not just that, of course we want it too, but not just that we want, but that God wants for us. And we had so much proof, like even like we talk about like time, like out of nowhere we'd see like 909 or like 1212, and that was something that like was really significant for us. And then even until now, every time we see that, we're like, oh, like God's telling us we're doing the right thing, or like we're on the right path. So that was something that was really amazing. Sorry, I'm probably going way over time. Just like last minute, I guess, to wrap it up. We were blessed just now in April. And since then, it's actually been really interesting. I feel that you can prepare a lot for the blessing, and conditions are good, but nothing really prepares you for like living together. And, it's all kind of, it's like a big, adjustment, right? And since then, actually, it's been challenging. We've had to deal with, for me, like living in another country, even though I'm half Brazilian, like I was, international busing, I think for anyone is really difficult, because it's even for, I think, national, every family comes from a different culture. It does work, even if you live in the same country, like your family culture is different. The way that your parents, work together, their relationship, your relationship, your parents, the way that you take care of the housework, all of that is so different.
Everything's different.
Yeah, everything. And so, so that's been some getting used to. But I think the most important thing that's really helped us is that even like when we have fights or arguments, like it's coming together, right, and staying united. And so that's something we always talk about, how like we have to talk. It's like, of course we're very different. I'm more like, something happens, let's talk right away. And he's like, I need time to think about it. But every time after that happens, learning to really like grow with each other. That's been really a blessing. And so anyway, we realized that our blessing, sorry, just to end it last minute, is our blessing is not just for us, right? It's for our future children, but it's also for the people around us. And so we're really an example. And so like even he has nieces and nephews that are in their teenagers. And so we know that, we're really an example for them, and so we have to really be serious, right? Like our blessing is more, sorry.
How about go to the Mr. Melissa?
Oh, but his name is Enrique.
Enrique, yeah. Enrique, Mr. Melissa.
She is a great person. I just have to thank God to receive this wonderful wife. We have some problems. Como é que eu falo? Às vezes a gente tem alguns problemas.
Yeah, like some like
por
fights
por causa da diferença de cultura.
because of the cultural difference.
Yeah, but I'm really, eu tô muito feliz mesmo de poder compartilhar essas experiências com você.
Wow.
He's really happy to share this experience. He's
Thank you for your beautiful testimony. 감사합니다, 멜리사.
Thank you.
Thank you, Enrique. Thank you.
Obrigado.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa and Enrique, for sharing with us your story, just the challenge, the breakthrough, and the inspiration for everyone here. I saw Jacob Chikani just smiling all around, and of course, everyone here as well. Thank you for sharing with us your story. All right, brothers and sisters, we're going to go into our breakout now. So just take a moment to think about what you gained from today's morning devotion, Dr. Yong's message, and the living testimony. Share whatever comes up, whatever inspiration you have to share with whoever you're paired up with, and we'll be back here to share with everyone else. We'll see you all in 7 minutes. All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I had incredible breakout. I called out Jacob Chikani before we went into breakouts, and then I was in a breakout with Jacob Chikani. Spirit World's working. I'd like to first call on Jacob to share his reflection from today's morning devotion.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, Rashford called me out. I knew something was going to happen. Really, today, it never ceases to amaze me that I always find inspiration through these morning devotions. Even if I come drowsy, I always find myself energetic by the end, because there's always something that hits to the core of it, something I'm searching or trying to understand, or something I've experienced that I need a more broad perspective on. Today's really was looking at understanding the intentions behind people's actions, and really taking the time to try to get to the core of the heart of an action. And really throughout my life, throughout looking at the process of, I was in the process of a matching before, not right now, but I'm still working on it. I was really, thinking about more recently, what led to, the process falling through. And really, it aligned with the message, because I had more self-centered position or self-centered understanding that I needed to, analyze, and that led to a lot of misunderstandings in communication. And really, it wasn't. That's what the big problem was in that. And also, I had to analyze and really think about the actions of my parents throughout the entirety of the course of my life. Really, especially since what brought my parents to make the decision to move from Africa to the United States, and from the United States to Canada. And, looking at that and, thinking about it through the position of like a child, really self-centered position, I never was able to stay in the same place for more than 3 years. Making friends was easy, but the problem was you can't keep friends easy, because you're moving distances that are not plausible, and the internet's not that big of a thing at the time. But really, throughout the process of analyzing, the situations where I had to go with my mom to see the immigration lawyer, because she couldn't find someone to babysit me and my siblings. And seeing her have to struggle and hear the Quebecois French, which is slightly different, it's slightly different vernacular, and she speaks like more Parisian style. It led to, situations where I'd see her struggling to understand things. I'd ask, Mom, do you understand what he's saying today? Like, she'd look at me and she'd shake her head no, a little bit. And really, throughout that whole process, and especially at the end when we were able to receive our citizenship, it really hit me immediately at that point, because it was right before, when I was 17, just as I turned 17. So it was a 5-6 year process. And at that point, I'm thinking about it more. And my mom comes up to me and she has tears in her eyes. We're getting our papers and everything. She says, I'm so glad I was able to get this done before you turned 18, because you'd have to do it yourself at that point. And it was like this. Really, I didn't understand. I understood, wow, what was I even thinking about at that point? But really, it took many more years for me to come to an understanding more and more about the intention of my parents, and really the intention of people around me, and try to, really, this is forcing me to really think about and analyze more deeply those situations. And really, I need to live by the rule of 3 more and more often. I'm so grateful for this message. Thank you so much.
Jacob, really, you know how to share. Really, you share your reflection so well. And then today, new hairstyle, much better than before.
It's still all here, Dr. Yong. It's in the back.
Very nice, very handsome. Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jacob. I just love hearing you share. You're very articulate in your expressions, and just very great to hear the clarity in your sharing. So thank you, Jacob. All right, next we're going to, I'd like to call on Barbara, Pastor Barbara Robertson, who was also in my breakout, to share with us her reflection.
Thank you, Resfred. Yeah, so, Dr. Yong, I felt yesterday your message was so difficult for me to digest, actually. I really had such a hard time. And then this morning, I was in the breakout room with these 2 beautiful sisters, and they both said, oh, yesterday's morning devotion was the best. And we went and listened to it twice. And I thought, I could feel, God is saying, Barbara, you have to really, that was for you, don't insist on yourself, even 1%. And how difficult that was for me to hear. And, this morning you were sharing about what is my job. Yeah, my job is to bring joy and happiness to others. And somehow that way of putting it just made me feel like, oh my God, am I doing my job? You know, am I doing my job at the end of the day? Did I love my husband? Did I love my children? Did I bring them joy? Yeah. You know, so I'm so grateful for this message this morning. And I just want to say also, I'm so moved by Melissa's testimony, just my mother's heart, just want to cry that she could find this beautiful young man. And yeah, so beautiful.
Wow, Barbara, thank you for honesty and beautiful sharing. 감사합니다. Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah, thank you, Pastor Barbara. Thank you for sharing. All right, so we're going to go on to our announcements. If you are inspired, if you feel like more people should hear about this, you can invite people to join in on this experience by sharing the Zoom link with them or directing them to edu.familyfed.org. If you're watching online, right here, that's the website. And also, that website contains the archive of the PowerPoints, the recordings, the transcriptions, everything you need morning devotion related. So you can visit there as well for what you'd like. Dr. Kylie has made that available. And if you're especially inspired, you can donate by clicking the link in the description. You can donate by clicking the link in the description of the video, but also in the Zoom link, we have the link to the donation as well. And finally, if you'd like to offer a song or an opening prayer, you can do so by emailing Tal at tzor, T-Z-O-R-E-R @unification.org. And with that, we're going to go on to our musical offering. He's a staple, a classic when you think musical offering morning devotion. He's probably one of the first people you'll think of. Let's welcome up Lawrence Bear.
Thank you, Dr. Yong. Another amazing message.
Right.
Wow. So always you seem to hit on the key points of the song before it's presented. So you're definitely plugged in. No question about that. So, you know, when I was thinking about the providence, right? You know, I thought about a chess game, and you know, in the end of a chess game, like the final moves, that's a really important part of the chess game, and you know, one way to win is to get your pawns to go forward to the end, and then they can become queens, right? So that's really a great strategy. So I thought about, you know, that relationship between, you know, God and Satan. Satan's been working all of history just to try to defeat one, you know, Messiah couple, but in the last moment, then God can create thousands and thousands of heavenly tribal messiahs. We're beyond the completed Testament age now, and you know, just totally overwhelmed that Satan can't do anything. There's like thousands and thousands now of true parents instead of just one couple. So that's what this song is about. It's called The Chess Game.
It was the chess match of the ages, a game of life and death, where moves were planned 1,000 in advance. God who battled Satan kept his plays close to the vest, while he studied Satan's every twitch and glance. Satan had control of the board, every castle, every bishop, every knight with horse and sword, and yet despite his darkest efforts, he had not yet found a way to win his battle with the Lord. Then God reached down for his king and removed him from the table. Satan jumped up with a shriek and cried, "I win." But God didn't even blink, and with his palm up to that angel said, "My king does live, he's there within my queen." Satan struck in rage, his talons drawn, but shrank before he reached her, all his power gone. As she cried for Satan's children, one by one they stood beside her, each a steadfast, humble pawn. God allowed himself the slightest smile. His adversary clearly knew the endless reign of fear was nearly through. As couples they marched forward, how bravely they advanced, each pawn no more a lifeless figurine. Unstoppable, they crossed the board until they reached the goal at last, each couple now a royal king and queen. Like Jericho, the evil walls fell down. The queen shed tears of gratitude by the king's burial mound, and every heart forever faithful, raising joyful voice and praise before God's glorious crown. And every heart forever faithful, raising joyful voice and praise before God's glorious crown.
Your song is always meaningful and so beautiful. 오늘도 훈독해. Thank you so much. 감사합니다. Lawrence Bear. Thank you.
And poetic. I love it. I love it. I'm with Lawrence. I'm just amazed how you just whip up and create these songs so quickly every time. Thank you for just offering your song, not just today, but every single time. All right, brothers, we're going to go into brothers and sisters, we're going to go into our closing prayers. Ferreira, I'd like to call on Kyoho Jones. If you could please unmute and close us out in prayer. You're still muted. There you go.
Dearest Heavenly Parents, thank you so much for bringing us together as your children, all different race, different nationality, different religious background. We are here to hear you and to be with your children and to comfort you and to uplift you and to give you the confidence that your children will be back through all our devotion, morning devotion that we dedicated and we committed ourselves to really hear this world is coming together with you, even though handful of people. But this wave of your true love is gonna wash away all the tears and all the suffering of your children. Because we love you, we really want to be with you. And we want to bring all these children back to you. Your suffering of thousand years and your tears are brought by true parents and brought by Jesus, and they shed their blood and sweat and tears for us. Then we will be the one to comfort you. We are the one to bring all the tears, wipe away from your heart, and to really uplift you. Thank you so much for today. Another words, and the words that we will carry on throughout the day and throughout the history that we can really bring for the victory to you. And we know that Satan cannot really take over your children because you committed and you really pledged in front of all the history together from the beginning to the end. We can become your children and we can bring all the children together. And thank you so much every day. The word is refreshing our heart and our spirit and purifying all the mud that is covered in our heart is every day cleansing and purifying. Thank you so much for trusting us. Thank you so much for loving us. Thank you so much for not giving us at all. And we are the one coming back step by step into your deep inside your soul and inside our heart to be together. And thank you for true parents bringing us together. Thank you every morning to committed for this morning devotion. That is the heart is gonna overwhelming your heart because we are here with you. And thank you so much for this world that is all the children that is committed is coming together. And we pledge ourselves and we will walk this day carrying the words in our heart and applying this divine principle that is clearly dividing the goodness and from evil. And thank you. We offer this our day sincerely with all our utmost sincere effort to you. I pray this, report this in the name of Greg and Kyoho Jones, all the precious brothers and sisters who represent all humanity. Amen. And I urge you,
Wow, thank you. Always beautiful prayer. Thank you, Gyo-sang. Very sincere. 감사합니다. Greg and Gyo-ho.
Thank you, Kyo-san, for closing us out with such a beautiful, powerful prayer. And with that, this concludes today's morning devotion. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye, everyone.
Have a nice day. Nice Wednesday.